If I started marathon training today, I wouldn't waste a single pound. I'd buy just 6 things, well 4 actually, we'll get into that later. And these will give me the biggest boost in my training, my recovery, and of course my race day performance. Forget the gimmicks, these are the things that I wish I had from day one, instead of learning the hard way halfway through the training. Now these 6 points have been compiled based on previous marathon training blocks. I'm currently in my 11th or 12th one now, and I've got to a point where I've homed in and just focused on these 6 things. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. And the first one is sorting your shoes out early doors. So basically getting your training and racing shoe rotation done as quickly as possible. My last 2 or 3 training blocks have been really good in the fact that I've managed to lock into the shoes that work really well for me in training. Now it makes it a bit tricky being a shoe review channel because of course you might have noticed I've not been putting out the most shoe reviews over the last couple of months in particular, and that's because I've focused my energy on acquiring pairs of shoes that are going to suit me through my marathon training and of course get my race day shoe ready. I actually can't stress this point enough, mainly because it's for injury prevention. For me, I look at all the super trainers on the market. The Evo SL is hands down, value for money, one of the best out there. But in recent times, I've done a lot of my marathon training in the Adios Pro 3. I like how more natural it feels with the rods in it rather than a plate. I love the super shoe foam and I love everything about this shoe. I feel like I'm not stressing my body too much by the fact that there is a carbon plate in there. It is just using rods, which is a lot more natural, but I do get that super shoe benefit from the foam. There's not another super trainer out there that I'd rather run in, or any other shoe for that matter. So I tried to set myself up at the start of this block knowing that I wasn't going to have to be testing shoes, finding out what works, what doesn't. I know what works from previous blocks, and so I'm implementing that into this one. Number 2 is all about your recovery tool. Pick your recovery tool of choice. Yes, I know a lot of people have all the recovery tools. My preference is the massage gun. Now I've been using a massage gun for probably 7 or 8 years. I appreciate Bob and Brad sending me this massage gun. This is not a sponsored post, by the way, nor am I trying to sell you anything. I'm just saying I bought my massage guns before they sent them, and now I've got a couple from these guys. I keep one at home and one in the office, which I'm very grateful for. I use them probably in excess, maybe, I don't know, but it keeps me injury free, and it's the one thing that I like to do. Other people like to use recovery boots. Some people use the muscle balms like I have done in the past, and I still do occasionally. But for me, if I had to have one recovery tool, it would be a massage gun. Now I've taken this thing to physio appointments, to massage appointments, and asked them their opinions on how I should be using this. They also say it's a great tool, but a lot of people often use it wrong just by moving it up and down the muscle itself. Sometimes it can be really useful to place the end of the massage gun on the attachment point of the muscle or the tendon and then just stretch it out just to relieve a bit of tension there, and then move it up and down the muscle when you start at the top and then work your way down. That way you're working all of the muscle of the tendon and it just helps a lot more. And again, since I've been doing that, it's massively helped as well. I feel a lot better. After that, I'll often do a little bit of mobility and stretching as well, and that is my go-to. Now again, I will say, and I should touch wood when I say this, I've been injury free now for over 3 years, pretty much. A couple of small niggles here and there, but overall nothing has kept me out for a long period of time. I do attribute that a lot to my recovery. I'll also take hot baths as well, and just in general try and look after myself after the run. I feel like recovery is completely underrated. It's also part of your training. It's not just a thing you should throw on at the end of your run. And yeah, double down on your recovery tool, whether it's the compression boots, whether it's the balm, whether it's the massage gun, whatever it is, just stick with your tool of choice and make sure you implement it into your weekly routine. Speaking of doubling down, double down on your fuel of choice as well. So I can't stress enough, I say it to my athletes all the time, especially in a marathon build, it's so important to practice with your fueling in training. I appreciate it can be expensive. This is another reason why there have been less shoe reviews on the channel lately. I totted up the amount of money that I have been spending on gels, and recently, wow, since the end of May, beginning of June, I've doubled down on them. It's more important for me to make sure that I do a marathon training block and then on the day be well fueled, rather than do a marathon training block, get into great shape and let myself down on race day, which I have done before by under fueling. Once again, I can't stress enough that when you are in a down period, work on finding out what fueling works for you, and then when you are in your marathon training block, really invest a little bit of time and money if you can into getting the gels that you're going to use, and just use that 12-week build, 16-week build to get your stomach used to taking on those gels on the run, maybe before the run as well, and just get your stomach trained to taking them on at race pace, maybe faster paces, maybe slightly slower paces, whatever it might be, just get your body used to it. And for me now, being around 11 weeks out from my goal race, I'm really comfortable with how the gels are settling in my stomach, and I'm really confident in using them moving forwards. And essential for me, maybe not for everyone, but for me, having a decent GPS watch is really, really important. This is the Coros Pace Pro. Again, this was kindly sent to me last year. They also sent me the Pace 3 before that. Again, this is not a sales pitch at all. I'm just saying I'm really grateful to have a watch now that does decent GPS data, especially where I live in the Forest of Dean. Tree coverage used to play absolute havoc with my GPS. I've only had one issue since getting this watch, and it was very, very small. It rectified itself, it picked things back up, and it makes the world of difference. Now, I omitted this from a list of recommendations for beginner runners because I feel like as a beginner runner, it's really important to get used to how you feel out there on your run. As you become a more seasoned runner, I really appreciate checking out the stats that this thing builds up over a training block just to make sure that things are trending in the right direction. I'd be comfortable without them, but it's also reassuring to see on screen that the data is showing you that what you're doing is right in training. It's also really nice to track back maybe a year or 2 years ago and compare sessions that you might have done a previous year in a marathon training block. I'll often drop the odd session into an athlete's plan that we did in a previous block just to see the progression. That's really useful as well. And again, I just love to be able to track data and have a look at it after the run. As I'm running out there, it's something I don't tend to pay too much attention to. I just use it to make sure maybe I'm on pace or at the right effort level. But after the run, I'm not going to lie, I do love to dive into a bit of data. So I definitely wouldn't be without one of these. Number 5, having your preferred training structure in place. So whether that's having a coach, whether that's having a training plan, or whether that's writing your own plan, that is going to be one of the, if not the best investment that you can make for a marathon training block. I promise you, if you are winging it from week after week after week, this could well be a disaster. Now, truth be told, if you are winging it, then what you'll often find as you get into the harder phases of training is you might talk yourself out of doing what you should be doing and maybe start doing sessions or runs that you would like to do just because it's what you want to do rather than what you should do. Now, of course, we all have different price brackets. Some of us have coaches, as I said, some of us get training plans, or some of us write our own plans. Number one rule for me would always be, whatever it is, get it sorted before week 1 so that you know what you're doing for the most part, because of course there will be adaptations as you go through the training, whether it's for races, whether it's for time off, whatever it might be, you will need to tinker with it here and there. But if you have a good structure in place and you know that you have the accountability there, it's going to make a massive difference. Mainly for the fact that it allows you to not make excuses, but also more so than anything at all, take away that worry and stress as to what you have coming up the next week. So everything's mapped out for you. You don't have to overthink anything. You don't have to plan anything yourself. It can all just be done at the start so that you have that guide ready to go through the block. And finally, number 6, this is free of charge. Once again, investing in yourself, investing in your fuel that you put in your body, and investing in your recovery, investing in your sleep. As I said earlier in the recovery tools section, recovery can't be seen as something you quickly do after a run. It's just neglected by so many runners, including me back a few years ago. I've really come to the realization that it's super important that I eat right pre-session and post-session. I never do what I eat in a day videos because, to be quite honest with you, my diet in general is okay, but I do find myself reaching for food that maybe I shouldn't, or maybe the top athletes wouldn't eat. But I have made a pact to myself that it's so important to eat well before and after the run. Get the right stuff in before to fuel you, get the right stuff in after to help you recover. Relatively strict with my bedtimes as well, always aim for between 7 to 8 to 9 hours of sleep a night. I really do avoid the old days where I used to try and get 6 and get up super early. And when I did get up super early, I didn't go to bed early to compensate for that. And as I said, going through my usual recovery routine, which is the massage gun, potentially a hot bath, some mobility that I tend to do every single day in the evening when all the kids are in bed and the TV's on. Rather than sit on the sofa, I'm usually on the floor just stretching out, stretching my hips out, doing all of that good stuff and making sure that I feel ready for the next day's run. The most important thing and the mantra that has stuck stuck with me for such a long period of time is I want to be okay for the next day's run. So I'm always in that session, in that run at the time thinking, have I overcooked it? Am I going to be compromised in the next day's run, or am I going to be so sore that I actually can't get out the next day? And that point, if I'm answering yes to any of those questions, I will always rein things back and make sure that I can get out the next day. So that, coupled with everything, is super important to be stringing those weeks back to back, month after month, year after year. Now I appreciate this list is quite basic, but that is the whole point of the video. I'm trying to explain there are some great gizmos and gadgets and fancy things popping up into the running market, but the secret sauce to any training block is to find your routine if you can, get comfortable with the boring stuff, enjoy the exciting stuff, for me the sessions, for you it might be the long run or the easy run, and just rinse and repeat that week after week. As I said, there's nothing better throughout a marathon training block than stacking up week after week after week. That's all me and you should be aiming to achieve. And so keeping things basic and simple by having a plan in place, having the right shoes so that you feel comfortable, can perform your best and they're not detrimental to you, making sure your recovery's on point, making sure you're fueling well, and of course most importantly making sure you are looking after your body. If you tick all of those boxes, you're going to be setting yourself up for really good performance on race day. And if you've run multiple marathon blocks, I'd love to hear what you would add to this list. And if your recovery tool, for example, is not a massage gun, what do you tend to reach for? Are you a compression boot fan? Do you use the muscle balms? Do you use the massage gun? Or do you just stick to the simple stretching and mobility? So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please do check out a couple of these videos on screen. I'll leave a link up here to the long run video that I did recently. That's really important for marathon training as well. And I'll leave a link down here for beginner runners. If you're looking to get into the sport, I would avoid buying these things. I'll see you guys over on one of those.